Who is the helper and who's the one who's being helped? I've been thinking about this since our last Sharing the Dharma Day, when we had a guest who is deaf and blind, and he came with a volunteer guide and interpreter. And it was really touching to see the compassion and the care and the thoughtfulness of the guide, and the joy and the enthusiasm and the energy for the guest who could come and connect with the Abbey and participate in the meditation and the teachings and meet people in the community. And so this really reminded me of the summer when I turned 21 years old. So that was a while ago. It was over 20 years ago. But it was a real pivotal experience for me because I had applied and accepted the opportunity to be a raft guide, a volunteer raft guide that summer for an organization that does adaptive adventures and provides opportunities for people with disability to experience outdoor activities. And so doing this for the summer, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, but I had volunteered the previous semester thinking I was going to become an elementary school teacher, so I was involved with a classroom with kids with special needs, so I knew that I enjoyed working with people with disabilities. And I had been rafting, maybe 3 or 4 times, and that was fun. And so this summer, I got to pretty much every day be part of this team who made it possible for people who had, tremendous obstacles to otherwise going out and enjoying the nature of the desert and the feeling of floating on the water and just kind of being outside and that connection with the earth. I got to be part of making that happen. And so I find a few pictures. These are a little bit older. I took maybe 10 years or so after that summer. But just in case not everyone is familiar with what rafting is, we use these inflatable boats and put frames on them, and they have oars to row. And it was in Moab, which is in this stunning part of the United States. And so there's a lot of equipment. And it was really difficult. And so every day we would get up and pack up the boats. The boats were already loaded, actually, in the trucks. And we would get the equipment together. I picked this one out, actually, because of the food, because I love food. And a lot of the cooking that we did was on propane stoves, and there was like a big griddle for pancakes and things in the morning. But then we also used these Dutch ovens for things like brownies and apple cobbler and enchilada casseroles. So it was a really, the whole experience for people was so outside of their daily norm and usual routines. A lot of the people that we served were adults with developmental disabilities who lived in Salt Lake City and drove about 3 hours to come to the trip. And so we got up early each day, got in the trucks. The day before, we had put the boats on the trucks. We had loaded all the equipment on there. We had got the coolers out of the walk-in fridge, loaded them up, drove to where we put the boats in the water. And then we spent usually like an hour or a little bit more than an hour strapping everything on, getting the oars connected, moving the coolers from the trucks to the boats, moving big 5-gallon jugs of water onto the boats. And then the clients would show up and we could welcome them and do a little safety orientation and then push off and enjoy the day. And so even though there was a lot of schlepping and, it was a lot of physical work, a lot of challenge being in the heat. It was a summer where there was like 30 plus days of 100 plus degree weather. It was so worth it. It was so rewarding to really make a difference in somebody's life. And so with this experience, it showed me that what I wanted to do with my life is to be of service. And so I made a commitment that that was going to drive where I'm spending my time and my energy. And so it was really wonderful after engaging in a lot of volunteer work for the following number of years, that when I met Buddhism and encountered this bodhichitta aspiration, it was kind of like this natural evolution of what I had already been engaging with, and really even expanded my view of what was possible, because I had just really been focused on supporting people in the joys of this life and providing a good experience now and an empowering experience, helping people develop leadership skills and life skills. But then thinking about bodhicitta, it just expanded my whole vision of what was possible, of like, oh my gosh, I could help people be free of all suffering and have joy and contentment forever. Like, that sounds amazing. Yes, sign me up. And so it made me question, I was in this role of helper, but actually I was the one who I think has gotten so much more benefit from those experiences. And in thinking about this, then I also come up against looking at my own resistance of asking for help. And thinking, like, why is that? When I know that I enjoy helping others so much, why do I have so much resistance to giving that opportunity to others, to cultivate that good heart and being generous and working as a team? And I could find a couple of reasons. One, I think, is the easier one to work with, and that's that I don't really want to inconvenience people. We all have so much going on. Sometimes it can be hard to, feel like I'm bugging someone to be like, hey, can you stop what you're doing and come give me a hand? But then I can reflect and be like, well, I usually don't mind. I can say yes or no when someone asks me whether I can help them. Maybe that is not such a big deal. Maybe I'm putting a label of inconveniencing people in my own mind, but maybe it's not such an inconvenience to others to have the opportunity to help out. This other one was really interesting in seeing that I have this perception that my self-worth is tied to my capacity to being able to do something myself. That, like, kind of this I can do it attitude is a way that I receive, like, that I give myself validation of, like, worthiness, or where I'm getting some source of confidence. But then I go back to seeing the number of people that I've worked with, and that wasn't even in my mind, that my ability and willingness to share whatever I had with them to help them meet their needs was at all connected to their self-worth or their own capacity to do it themselves. Like, that wasn't, that it wasn't a thing about them being less than me and that's why I could help them. It was more that it was kind of a joy and a privilege to be able to help. And here, let me show you the beautiful nature of Utah, and let's enjoy nature together, and let's have a good time together, more than you can't do it, so let me do it for you. Or, yeah, so seeing how twisted my own mind is and looking at my resistance to ask for help has really encouraged me to kind of open up and be more willing to give others this opportunity that I find so valuable and meaningful, and to be able to help others and support others to get their needs met. Wouldn't that be wonderful if I was open in my own heart to ask for help when the time is appropriate, instead of driving myself crazy trying to do things myself when there's this team around who are all very generous and kind people? And then looking at this question of who's the helper and who's the one being helped really, as I ask for help, I am, it's like this gift that I'm offering to someone. Would you like to develop some flexibility? Would you like to develop teamwork and joyous effort and fortitude? And so seeing it in that way, I can hopefully just open up and not hold my own a self-centered view of who I am and what my worth is just based on what I can do and how much I can do myself, but really see that this helper and the one being helped are these fluid labels, and that we all actually benefit from being helped and having others support our needs being met. And we all really benefit from being the helper and having that joy of supporting others in our endeavors. And so this has just been a really fun reflection to see how these labels are very fluid, and we can hold seemingly two different labels of being helped and being the helper both at the same time. And we can also use this as a way to just see how jumping in, how helping others, and how inviting help all is supporting our overall aspiration to really get ourselves out of samsara and out of suffering through developing wisdom and compassion, and then with that great compassion to be able to support others in the most beneficial way, and being able to eventually lead each and every being to full awakening